Hey, how you doing? Here's a question. How do I look at kind of like the most recent 20 years or so of a local newspaper like the Salt Lake Tribune or the Deseret News? It's kind of baffling to go to their website because sometimes they have searches and sometimes they don't. So this is what this video is about. Also, since I'm in the History of Com class as your librarian, contact me anytime. I'm happy to help out with your research. I love my job and I love doing stuff like that. So if you want to entertain me with an annotated bibliographic problem or a draft of a bibliography, or if you're working on text or if you're doing research, I'm happy to help. Just send me an email. So from the research guides, we have a guide for this class. Painful, awkward, long pause. I should just can it and just put the URL, but I want you to go through this because you could see all these other librarians that are doing other things as well. So if you go to the communication guide, it is campusguides.lib.utah.edu/communication. Can I show you the URL? Again, long, painful pause. Oh, here we go. There you can see the URL. But we're here in the History of Com. At the very top of this page, I put in one of my favorite databases. It is called US Newsstream right here. If you go, all of these are newspapers, and you can see the date ranges for these. The only reason I don't have a date range for this one is because it's many newspapers in the United States. But what you can do is you can go look at all of those and other newspapers if you wanted to, just by going to the library homepage. You can look under databases for the name of a newspaper, or you can go by format over here on type, and newspapers is one of the types. And then all of our newspaper databases are in there. So if you want to see like a newspaper from Iran or from Turkey or from China, there's a lot of different resources there. It's pretty cool. So one of them is US Newsstream. Let me show you how to find, let's use the Salt Lake Tribune as an example. And it's a bit of a trick question. So in this one, you can search most of the newspapers from the last 20 years in the United States. Most of them are English speaking. There are some Spanish papers as well. But for the most part, it's really great. You could put in like Kanye West, or you could put in jazz, or you could put in basketball, everything that's showing up in newspapers. But if you want to go to look in a specific newspaper, you click on Publications. Here's where it gets tricky. There's like an alternate name for the Salt Lake Tribune. I think it's like the Daily Miner or something like that. Let's see. Salt. Oh, I misspelled salt. So I could search in title. Maybe it's another database where it shows up as the Daily Miner. Oh, well, shut my mouth. So here you can see, look carefully at the date ranges. 2017 to 2017. For some reason, this one is a very thin link, but this one goes back to 1990 to present. So what you can do now is go directly into the Salt Lake Tribune as its own little compact database. It only goes back to 1990, so the paper's been around a lot longer than that. So within this publication, you really could search anything. And you can also see today's paper. So if I was going to look up jazz, probably get a bunch of basketball, maybe some music. What would happen over like 30 years of Utah? What's going to show up? 44,000 results. I bet a lot of those are basketball. So you feel free to add like more keywords like jazz and controversy, jazz and basketball, or jazz and music, jazz and blah, 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 blah. Whatever you're looking for. This is one way to cruise through this. You can also go through subject, and we're just in the Salt Lake Tribune, but you could narrow it down this way as well. You're like, no, I'm not interested in basketball at all. I want musicians and conductors. See how that works. As you go through this, if you want any help with anything, or if you can't track something down, Let me know. I'm happy to help. Have a good one.